Well, hey friend, welcome back to another Monday Fire episode. I wish that I was prepared enough to be able to tell you which episode number this is, but I don't know. I know it's the one where I'm going to talk to you about a Peloton exercise I did. And so there's that. So welcome. I'm glad that you're here again this week. So I've got this funny story to tell you. It's not even funny. All right, it's not even funny, but I'm going to talk to you about a Peloton workout that I was doing the other night and how it relates to life and to business and to all the things. And I hope that it blesses you this week. I also need to just let you know I have one of the dogs, the bad one, in the room with me, and the bad dog will probably bark at some point. We're just going to pretend she's not here. Because we don't give attention to bad behavior sometimes. It's reverse psychology, people. And so anyway, if Lola acts a fool, I apologize in advance. So I bought my husband a Peloton bike for Christmas, and I also have done a little podcast episode on what I think about like the Peloton, the advertising drama that was going on. So you can go listen to that if you want. But I bought him a bike for Christmas, even though I had already been doing Peloton workouts for months prior to that. So you can get like the Peloton app on your phone, right? And you can do strength exercises. You can do yoga workouts. You can do running exercises. We can give you a link if you want in the show notes if you're on my website or seeing this in the notes. So anyhow, I love the app. And the reason I love the app is because you can be super specific about like what I personally do is this. I'll go and I'll pick 20 or 30 minutes. I don't go longer than 30 minutes because quite frankly, I just don't want to work out longer than 30 minutes. I mean, let's be honest. You can send me hateful DMs if you want, but I don't want to work out more than 30 minutes. At this stage in my life, that's about capacity for what I have to do. And if I put pressure on myself to do a 45-minute or get an hour in or something, it's just not going to happen. So 20 or 30 minutes is really all that I can give at this point, and that just has to be enough. And so I'll pick 20 or 30 minutes depending on how froggy I'm feeling. And then I'll set it to a strength workout, and then I'll set it to hip hop music because, you can take the girl out of the hip hop. You can't take the hip hop out of the girl. So I'll pick that. And then all these different workouts come out. Right. And so the other day, I picked one and I can't remember which one it was, but it was a strength workout and we were in the middle of doing some weight exercises. And so this was one that was really working like your legs. And so she had us pick up either like a 10 or 12 pound weight in one hand. And then we were doing this exercise where she had us do a back lunge. Okay. So picture me, I've got one hand on one hip and I've got a weight in my hands and I'm going down in a lunge, right? And then you come up, but without putting your leg that was just back on the floor, you do a high knee raise. So you've got your knee coming up to your chest. And then without putting your knee on the floor, you're putting your knee way out in front of you and you're lunging forward. And then you're lunging with your knee back up to your chest again. And then you're going like back the other direction. And I was horrible at it. Quite frankly, I'm like, what the heck is this? And there was an exercise the other day that somebody had us do too, which was like, you're in a side plank and your knees are down. I promise you that this is not a podcast about exercise, but you're in a plank position, but with your knees down, and you're going to roll your arm over and you're going to do push-ups. It's like side push-ups, like side girl push-ups. I'm like, what witchcraft is happening here? I don't even know what's happening. I'm saying that in jest, by the way. And so anyhow, I'm doing this movement back to the lunges. So you lunge back, knee up, lunge forward. And I'm really shaky. And we had just done like a whole bunch of squats. We had just done some squat jumps. And so I'm even more shaky. Also, I'm trying to work off the mashed potato belly that I put on this summer or this winter. And so, I'm probably not quite as in shape as what I was 6 months ago. So I'm doing this and we had to do a bazillion sets of the exercise. And the lady's like, hey, and so I'm like, falling over and stumbling and thinking, why can I not balance on one leg, while my other leg's doing weird things forward and backward. Anyway, the lady says, the instructor was very wise. And she said, hey, friends, if you're shaking right now or you're finding yourself off balance, like no worries. What we're doing is we're training your body so that the next time you stumble, the next time you fall off a curb, the next time you do something, you're not going to tweak a muscle. You're not going to put your back out. She's like, so it's okay that you're shaking and stumbling right now. You're training yourself. And I was like, oh, girl, that was good. And it made me just think about, And this is how often God will deal with me. He'll give me like a real life example like that. And he'll be like, okay, sis, so this is the same thing that happens in life. And so I was thinking about how many of the entrepreneurs who I coach, like in my inner circle coaching group, and they're brand new to business, and they come in and they're expecting themselves to like not stumble, right? They're thinking, okay, I'm not, in that bad a shape is what I was thinking. I should be able to do this exercise. So they're thinking, okay, I've kind of started business a little bit. Like I've had an idea. I know what I want to do. Like I shouldn't stumble around at the beginning, but often we do. They're muscles we've never worked before. And maybe it's not like in small business, but maybe it's you're trying to take up a new hobby. Maybe you're trying to start, something new that you've never done before, painting, some sort of crafting. I don't know. I mean, you fill in the blank. But my takeaways from that were a couple of things. Number one, when we start something, we probably are not going to be good at it right away. I mean, think about, a little kiddo learning how to walk for the first time and how many times they fall down, and nobody expects them to be like really good at walking right off the bat, right? But why do we expect ourselves when we're trying to learn a new skill or try to start a business or, trying to kind of change how we treat people even, or you know what I mean? Like when we're doing something for the first time, why do we expect ourselves to be better than realistically, I think anybody else thinks that we're going to be? That Peloton instructor, she was like, you know what, you may stink at this, and that's okay because you're training your body. And I was like, oh my gosh, girl, that's so good. So I just want to, number one, give somebody an encouragement today that when you start, you're probably going to be bad. But nobody's expecting you to be good. And the Bible says that we're not to despise small beginnings. And small beginnings, I think, often mean, we think of small beginnings like in terms of in business, starting with a small revenue and stuff. But I think a small start can also mean a really wobbly start, a really shaky start, a really unsure footing in the beginning. And we're not to despise that, meaning I don't think we're to look at that and go, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I didn't do better at this, and then just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so I love that she made me think of that while she was talking. And the second thing that I want to tell you is that I love that she was saying that this is not like you falling, like you stumbling right now is not falling. You're training your body how to recover for when you stumble the next time. And I was like, that's so good. And she was like, right now you're stumbling in class, but what about the time you trip going up the stairs or you fall off the curb or whatever? Like we're training your body how to recover quickly when you miss a move. And I was like, girl, that is so good. And so I was thinking, how much more powerful could we be if those of us who have jacked some things up, whether that is relationships, whether that is a business, whether that is, a course, or we've tried starting something and it failed miserably. Like how much more powerful could we be if we looked at that failure and just reframed it in our mind? And maybe instead of us looking at it as a failure, could we look at that for failure as like success and training? I was thinking as I was getting ready to do this podcast and was, putting together my notes. Ari is a kindergartner, the new little girl that we're in the process of adopting, and she's in kindergarten. But I love that her teacher does not call them kindergartners. She calls them first graders in training. And when she says it, she beams from ear to ear because it's like she knows she's going somewhere. She's moving on up. You know what I mean? And I think that like what would happen if instead of us just looking at our failures as failures, we looked at them as like future successes in training? I think of how much more powerful we could be. If you'll reframe on how you look at shaky beginnings, failures, I think that it will make you so much stronger. And see, strength gives us courage. And courage gives us experiences because when you're courageous, you try things, you do things. And experiences are what give us confidence. And I think that's like the through line. Strength, becoming stronger at really stinking in the beginning and falling over and bumbling around, it's going to give us courage. And then that courage gives us experience to try new things and do new things. And then that experience is what's going to eventually lead to confidence. And so if you are, shaking around this morning, falling over, losing your footing, I just want to encourage you. It's a future success in training. What you're doing right now is you're training yourself on recovery, how to adjust, how to fix things, how to not give up. You're training yourself. This is training ground. And so I just want to encourage somebody with that today. I hope that that's a gift to someone. If it is, please put it on the Instagrams. Give me a shout out so I see, so that I know I was speaking right to you. And until next week, I hope you'll stay blessed. Bye-bye.